Hello, hello, THL. Welcome to Sunday Showdown. My goodness, do we ever have a fantastic show tonight? Starting off with the Legacy semifinal series. We got I should start off actually with my host. So the casters of the evening. So Nails, we got Nails filling in for Kotamura, and we also have JR Juggalo filling in for the Myanodon guy. So took a Sunday off. How you doing, JR?
I'm good. I'm sad I don't have a voice deep enough to properly fill my Anodon shoes, but I'm good anyway.
Great. And Nails, I just saw you click in with the Discord. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing okay for going for deep voices. I don't think I can keep that up for a whole cast though. So, yeah, I'm doing great.
We'll see if we can mimic Myanodon here on Hearthstone.
I think you're going to be the best one to do that, though, Saku. Let's be real.
We'll be close. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so we have possibly two matches tonight, depending on the outcome of this one. So you guys take it away for the teams that are involved.
That's right. We've got two playoff matches that were obviously taking place. It's the semifinals of Legacy. We were just talking beforehand that one of those matches was decided between the Standard THL Degenerates and Fish Eternum, and Standard THL Degenerates are moving on to the finals after a big win from Memar to seal the series. It was definitely looking a bit close, but these guys, they're going in for I believe their second final since the team was formed. So last time they didn't win, maybe this is their chance. But this match, we've got ourselves F2L White, versus 4 Justins, 1 Sustin. So we've got.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I'm not trying to. Yeah, you can. Sure. Yeah, FL White is up 2-1 in the series, 9-6 in points. Anvil can secure the win if they take the win over Pokemon 661. But if Pokemon takes the dub in game 1, then we'll go to game 5, and that'll be Totino's Pizza versus Kurt Reynolds.
And the good thing and the interesting thing about this match right now is that really while points often do matter, this is a scenario where it's purely about winning the match. There is, if F12 White wins, they by any margin they win, and if 4 Justins, 1 Sustin win both of these matches by any margin, they will take the playoff spot as well. So it's really just about who wins.
So we got bands in. So.
All right, so we've got Anvil banned Hunter and Pokemon 661 banned Paladin. So that means Anvil is going to have Mage, Rogue, and Shaman, and Pokemon 661 is going to have Paladin, Rogue, and Warlock. So what are our thoughts on how that matchup is going to look like? Based on those classes, who do you think is going to have the advantage there, Nails?
Let me take a look at it. The Rogues are just both look pretty solid. Rogues are a really good class right now, and so wouldn't expect you can do exactly two things with Rogue, and they're both going to be lining up pretty well. The Warlock is definitely going to be good into the Shaman, assuming it's well, actually, no. If Curse Warlock is just like Shaman's Artist counter, but like Murloc Warlock is doesn't appreciate getting Snowfall Guardian, so no confirmation on what it'll be. But if they hit that matchup with those decks, then it would be a good find for them. And then Paladin's just generally pretty solid. Doesn't have the greatest time into Big Spell Mage, but it can always do stuff. I think it looks pretty close, honestly. could really go either way, and it'll probably come down to gameplay. I don't think anyone has like a decisive advantage on classes.
I like the analysis. I was going to say it definitely does seem like from first glance that there are classes to consider, but that there are matchups to consider. But it looks like they both have somewhat different strategies, but could easily have a shot at winning. No obvious favorite player, at least from my perspective. But I guess we'll have to see what the queue order is going to be. So.
Yeah.
Players are starting as I'm being told.
Yeah, so we're going to have Pokemon 661 going to be at the bottom of the screen, or first to spectate for our casters. Then we're going to have Anfall at the top of the screen. We do have player cam, so that's going to be another add-on to the stream. So
Excellent.
Looks like they are doing battle with a friend, both of them.
I am
So,
not seeing it on my
as soon as the
end.
client lets us get in there,
giddy up.
I have to restart it.
So we
So
got
it'll just be a moment.
Pokemon starting with Warlock, and we got Anfall starting with Hunter. AKA
Oh boy, is that a bug? I have to restart my client.
Maestro Rogue.
Yeah, I think it's. I logged in and then didn't do anything in the client for long enough, and
Okay, that makes
the
sense.
client doesn't want me to spectate.
Same boat.
It's not letting me spectate anybody. Wonder if I'm on a wrong patch or something. This is really weird.
You gotta click on the arrow. I had to learn this myself and then hit spectate. That's the weird thing that they
Oh.
No eyeballs come up anymore, so you just press the
interface change.
I learned that 2 weeks ago. I was like, why?
See, this is why Saku is truly irreplaceable.
Blizzard, why?
Cannot do it without him.
I don't want to think about what I'd do without him. All right, yes, so we see Pokemon 666, as you said, does have the Warlock, and then it is Curse Lock, and then Thief Rogue for Anfall.
Okay. Getting into the action. This is it's 30 HP Warlock and not 40 HP, which is a meaningful difference in this matchup. The Rogue can it's not a given, but the Rogue can eventually get a lot of burn cards together and burn the Warlock out from pretty close to 30, and once you get to turn 10, if you've got a Shadow Steps discount set up, you can get 30 damage in a turn pretty reasonably. So I would think that the Rogue would be favored, but it's we don't Infall's hand isn't doing anything too incredible too quickly. And the Drag Below pickup on the Noggling is just really nice for Pokemon. So,
I mean, he could really build a board right now thanks to the Vessel combined with Prep and then the Gone Fishing to get the...
I missed those cards because they're covered up by my deck tracker, but yeah. The Prep Boat is not going to hit the board. Surprising. Warlock has a lot of clears that come down on exactly turn 6, and so usually this is getting your minions down before turn 6, before Hero Card and the Entitled Customer come down. Usually something to prioritize. So just kind of surprising.
Yeah, 6 is very much the magic number for Warlock when it comes to the AoE, like you said, so that definitely would have been a great opportunity to capitalize on both building a board, but also knowing that he wasn't going to have to worry about any kind of punishment there.
With that said, Pokemon doesn't have a 6-mana AoE in hand, so And the Abyssal Wave as well, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, just a bunch of ways to eat the AoE. But I mean, I guess Anvil's line might be to just set up the boats later and play the Gone Fishing with Smite. And if that's his line, then that's pretty respectable, honestly. So can't fault too much for that.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair, but at the same time, I guess he's got to be careful about how he builds a board and wants to capitalize on something like that.
For sure. I see Pokemon hovering the Bran, and you usually don't get more than one curse out of Bran, sometimes two curses, but so I don't hate this use of Bran. It efficiently spends the mana, and he didn't have like another way to cleanly clear the crab. Fills up your opponent's hands with curses. It doesn't burn a card because the curse gets discarded before the draw, but yeah, just a solid play.
And that's a nice draw from Anvil getting the null that, I mean, he still had a way of eliminating the Bran right now, which is definitely going to be a priority, but it is also good that he has a bit
spend the 5 minutes on the boats.
Yeah.
And like still have a useful turn while holding the prep to go along with potentially the Edwin, I guess. That seems like a pretty reasonable way to spend it. Or, I mean, even dumping it on the shoulder check along with Smite would have been cool potentially. But shoot, how much damage is this on turn 8? We've got Smite, Gone Fishing is 12, and then the Flay Fighter's 16. Along with the stealth minions connecting, presumably.
That would be 18, I believe.
Yeah, just like that's
18 plus 23 if you include the null.
Yeah. Wouldn't usually include the null, but given the state of Pokemon's hand, yeah, we can count the null. It's really surprising that, but yeah, that the just like all this damage is going to get to connect face, or if it's cleared, then it's just a really sad clear, and it like starts to run Pokemon out of resources.
Exactly.
These are the type of burn hands that Rogue gets, where they just charge at you.
Very much. And what's also unfortunate is, now we're getting to a point where Pokemon really needs that AoE. So even if Anvil can't OTK Pokemon from this range, he still could put himself in a really big spot with this Smite into Gone Fishing play. But obviously, as we see here, he does have some options if he wants to just go for the Edwin or and see what he can draw out of that.
Pokemon's got some stuff going for himself. It has to be said, but he needs a top decks Drag Below in order to set up the turn 9 Tamsin Drag Below, and then like the Ashara clone, and which lets you play 4 copies of Drag Below, and like Anvil is currently in range of that, but if that's the game plan, it's just going to be too little, too late. It's going to be too slow because just of all the charge damage that's coming through.
Right, and we see Anvil is going to just go face with the Wicked Stab just to.
He knows the place.
Yeah, he knows what's going to be best for him.
And just top decking damage after damage. I'm surprised to see that trade, but I'm not sure that I should be surprised.
I would be surprised, except I think he knows realistically he wants to maximize the likelihood that that Edwin is just going to remain alive, and he knows
that is a Drag Blow.
Ooh, that's going to clear it, though. Yep.
It does clear it. And the curses are currently on 4 and 5, right? So
yes.
So you trade 4 dudes and double Drag Below. That's your entire turn. Then like the 5th dude kills off a 3/1.
Yep.
Then 16. Okay, that's yeah. Pokemon only has one play, and it unfortunately is exactly lethal coming back the other way for Handful.
Very much so.
Yeah. All right. So after all white, presumably, like Enfal's been setting this up very deliberately. Well played from him, and so I'm assuming he just knows how much damage he has, and so if it wasn't actually that doesn't add any damage to it unless there's like a top deck trap. But yeah,
Exactly.
Enfal knows his damage, and
Yep. Yeah, that the
this is road
solidifier
gameplay.
that just ends up being huge. But yeah, Anvil's gonna go up 1-0.
It was 2 over. Forgot to pump up then. But yeah, the both of the rogues looked quite good, and so I wouldn't. It depending on actually not really depending on. It was a nice opportunity for Paladin to get through if Pokemon hit that Q, but otherwise, and I mean I guess there's a rogue mirror, but that was a pretty good matchup for the rogue, so it's not like it was not an unexpected result. I guess I can say it.
Right.
Still not great for Team Dustin to lose that one.
Unfortunately, no, especially since they're in a must-win situation. Anvil definitely getting definitely getting the rogue out of the way is nice. He's left with Mage and Shaman now. Question of what do you think Pokemon 666 is going to queue? Does he assume he queues one over the other? Does he pick one class in particular counter queue?
I mean, just it depends on what his lineup game plan is a little bit, but just he's playing to win the set and score doesn't matter. I think so.
Right.
Shorter by extension doesn't really matter. Pokemon has an excellent hand here. This is basically the dream hand with a jackpot and a shroud. You can get a trickster down on. Wait, can he? If he keeps the prep, he can get a trickster down on turn 3 if he hits it off the shroud. It requires a lot of high rolling. And it's very committal. Like it kind of wastes your null discount, so you probably don't want to go for it. But
it's always a gamble with the jackpot.
That's it's probably you probably meant to. Oh, okay. He is going to keep the prep shroud recon. The recon keep in particular surprises me. I haven't really been talking about Anvil's hand, but pretty decent Noctowl curve. He's got a 1-drop. Yep. He's got Mini Stormcoil, which was a keep in them all. Okay, there's the trickster. So yeah, presumably going to see a pass into.
I was going to say, yeah, I think we know where this is going.
Yeah. We've seen this one before, guys.
I think we have, right? we see how this goes.
Can go one of two ways. The mech mage can get can try to beat what else is left? The mech mage can try to beat a warlock or a paladin, or we can get double. I don't know, like even topple the idol, twisting other whirlpool type stuff. It doesn't win the game on the spot, but it's still super annoying to deal with.
Well, so
yeah,
go ahead,
there are really huge whiffs in the pool. So,
oh my,
that is a box.
Oh my,
that's It's also a null if you wanted to prep the recon, but I honestly respect just holding it. Your null can get better value later.
Exactly.
So, and like, assuming that we're shipping a box on turn 3, that your null will get cleared pretty often, and just having a 3/5 on board to follow up is probably a better play. So nice spot from
Probably.
Pokemon.
What I'm wondering now, though, is what does Anvil do about it? Because he's in a very awkward spot with his hand. He's going to
You just
yeah.
meant to hope they don't have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let the shenanigans commence, as they say, right?
Let's get back, guys. I'm noticing that the null is playable.
Yes. Same,
So
yes.
probably a first flame. That's my guess for how the null gets played.
Ooh, AoE.
AoE, always good. Fireball knows the place. There's
Yep.
the first
You
flame.
called it. Yep.
Oh, and another fireball for good measure.
Wow. 12 base damage
This is
right
Gamrogue
there.
that I'm used to.
That's nuts. And he's got the other trickster in hand. Oh boy.
Yeah, no, he's dumping. What's it? It's 616 of stats on turn 4. This is his worst jackpot card.
My
Pokemon
goodness.
777 hit the jackpot on this one.
There's a lot to unpack there. But this is pretty great for Pokemon. He's got the trickster. I imagine he's going to play the best in shell just to build up his board. Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I would have liked to see a prep recon before this, but it really, really does not matter. I cannot emphasize how little it matters.
Yeah. And the worst part of the situation is that, especially against a deck like Mech Mage, this is a board that it's going to be really hard to break.
Yeah.
This is just
Mech Mage does not have counterplay to stuff in general, but like this in particular.
Right. Like Mech Mage is very much about trying to control the board and then potentially having an out to clearing their board and then doing a lot of damage. But if you have all of these stats, there's really no.
Mech Mage is not very good from behind, and it has one way to swing a board, and it's called Gaia. And to Anfal's credit, Gaia is in hand, and so is the Seafloor Gateway. Honestly, these are the cards that you need. The issue that the board came down about 2 to 3 turns before it came online. Honestly, okay, this is a dream. Okay, I guess the Seafloor Gateway was a bit late, but aside from that, we got the 1-drop, we got the Any Stormcoil, we've got discounted Gaia. Like, this is something of a dream draw from Mech Mage. It just was not even close.
I mean, it probably wouldn't have mattered if he drew a somewhat better hand, but at the same time, I think to myself, like, his hand did seem a little bit awkward as far as getting early momentum going. If he,
honestly, I'd argue that it wasn't. C-Scout, like, he had the active C-Scout up, like, it was Click Clocker into Deep Run into Operator. Like,
right.
That is something of a dream hand from Mech Mage. Just his high roll got absolutely trumped by the Jackpot Rogue high roll.
That's pretty fair. I guess when I think of Mech Mage, I think of how often they want to be able to be able to control their board, have some card generation as well, to maintain their presence. But I guess in a different scenario, that hand could have actually worked really well for him.
Yeah, to steal your phrase that you just used, that's pretty fair. Mech Mage is pretty fair, and Jackpot Rogue is very much not. And so we've seen this in Hearthstone before, and that's how it worked out here. The fair deck got steamrolled by the cheat deck.
Well, now it's 1-1, and we see Anvil's going right back to the Mech Mage, and Pokemon 661 is going right back to the Curse Lock. So both of these decks that have lost once already, one of them is going to break their losing streak, and the other one is going to continue it.
Yeah, and Mech Mage should have a better time in this matchup because it loses to cheating, and Curse Warlock does not really cheat very hard.
No.
Some might argue that a defensive deck playing a 1-mana 2/2 on turn 1 is cheating, though.
I mean, fair. Yeah. But there's also certainly something to be said about Cursed Luck is not going to put up some kind of big, impenetrable board that's going to
Yeah,
really.
it's for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're not going to see a repeat of the last game. That is for sure.
yeah.
But we do see Pokemon 661 does have the Abyssal Wave, so if Anvil does somehow get a big board going of his own, at least he'll have something to deal with that, depending on how big the board is.
Very surprised to see the Mortal Coil Blade instead of a tap. Uh, just usually getting your spending your mana efficiently is a priority, but that's
Yeah, I see what you mean, because he didn't really need to use it there. I guess he just decided he wanted to clear the minion, even if it was a bit overvaluing it.
um, I mean, yeah, the seafloor gateway on 5 minions on turn 3 is definitely the Mech Mage dream. And Pokemon's got the AoEs in hand, but that is a massive pickup. The full blown
Full blown
evil
evil, right? Yeah.
is gonna be able to just pick apart the board. Like you've seen your opponent play Seafloor Gateway, you know that Pain Train is coming. Unstable Shadow Blast is also understandable. It just 1 mana shoot a guy is rarely bad. And full blown evil with the amount of stats that are getting put in play, honestly, might not have been sufficient. So, potentially a good spot from Pokemon.
Yeah, but as we see here, Anvil is going to really start to not only build up his board, but is going to get some nice card generation off of the Amalgam. And he's also got these Gorilla Bots that are going to really help him maintain that presence. Picking the Mothership, I definitely like this, considering he wants to have some resilience to the inevitable removal and AoE removal that Pokemon is going to have.
Yep. Drain Soul not incredible, but it's really good with Bran and not uh, not a bad card just in general.
Yeah,
These teachers are providing a solid amount of board presence, which is
agreed.
all he is really looking for. And we didn't think it would be coming from the Cursed Warlock, but again, we're seeing Mech Mage struggle to remove an opposing board. The efficient Octobot, generally like just an excellent role, like cheating mana. We've discussed this, and
Yeah,
uh, it, it's not the most impactful here against the deck with the quality of AoEs that Curse Lock has, but
exactly.
it does block Hero Card on curve, which is quite impactful. Like
Right.
you really want to develop that ASAP, and so
Yeah,
good
because this would
find
have been a
from
good turn to play Tamsin, if not for that. But
yeah, like you'd burn a card and you just shrug and accept it. It's just really nice to get the 6 mana down.
ooh, that's a nice draw, though.
You love to see the Mecha Shark if you're an Endfall fan.
I was gonna
With
say,
that
I feel like
said,
you played it first. Yeah, I think
it's
you just played it first pass. Because now next
0
turn he'll
mana.
be able to go pretty. Next turn he'll be able to bring out a lot of a bunch of minions, fair amount of damage, build up his board. Seems pretty ideal.
Pokemon sees that and just decides to develop the hero card, which, as we mentioned, you generally want to get done ASAP as a Warlock, and it doesn't really matter which kind of Warlock. I mean, I guess aggressive Warlocks don't play the card, but yeah, it's just always a priority, and choosing to spend Mortal Coil to allow him to draw a card.
Yeah. It works out pretty well for him since he not only gets the draw, but he gets 2 of the 3 imps that were shuffled into the deck. So that's going to be less direct damage that Anvil's going to be able to do to his face, and he's going to have to clear these 2 minions out of the way first. Not such a bad thing, obviously, but it's definitely going to be helpful for Pokemon 661 that they're on the board.
Yeah. Um, Is he the Sea Scout operator? Cool. And yeah, for the Mecha Shark animations, ended up pushing like 9 damage face, I think, and
I
4 Um,
12
Bulk
damage,
is not
about
low
7
on
damage.
removals.
So,
Okay,
it was about
sure,
7
yeah,
damage. Yeah.
yes.
Hmm.
And so yeah, those 4 cards, but one of them was a Gorilla Bot, so like 3 cards spent to push 7 damage and clear 2 minions. Mech Mage is like the ratio on that is just not very great.
Nope.
So yeah, like I guess you just want to find your snowball early in this matchup, but I can't claim to be a mech mage enjoyer, so I don't know if this is how the matchup usually pans out, but it does not look very good right now in this matchup.
This is it's kind of a toss up, like a lot of matchups in Hearthstone. Simply put, in when you're playing Mech Mage, you can definitely outpace the Curse Lock, but it's a problem because they have all this different removal in AoE. There's no board you can create that they can't deal with. So it ends up being very awkward in situations like this where you had some good early momentum, they had an answer to it, and now you're just kind of hoping to find a second wind that is
The
realistically
second
unlikely.
wind that we're looking for could come from the form of Pokemon playing Gigafin here, because the having the death rattles inside the Gigafin. Okay, we're gonna see this. So Enfall has been tossed a lifeline.
Yeah,
The
actually.
Mecha Shark can blow up the death rattle. He'll summon 3 new mechs and get 9 shots, which
Well, I was gonna say I've been wondering about that because I haven't seen that. Is spitting it back out considered? It's still considered to be summoning it, I
yeah,
imagine.
they're summoned onto your board.
Oh, okay, cool. Then that's good. That works out.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
I've
nine
never gotten a
shots.
chance to see this before. Great.
Um, the board still isn't sticking, but it's like a pretty efficient play.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were a little bit more pessimistic, I would say that he spent a fireball to deal 6 damage to his opponent's face. But with that said, or sorry, 5 damage. But it did respond to a Gigafin. It still looks like too little, too late, though.
Exactly. Unfortunately, like he could use the customer to clear the board if he really wanted to, but I think at this point he kind of knows he's got enough individual removal in his hand. He doesn't need to go there, and if anything, by doing this, he's being able to further the curses into Anvil's hand, which is exactly what he wants and is going to prove to be a problem for Anvil.
I probably would have prioritized getting the customer played. It's just so efficient, and spending a bunch of spot removal feels wasteful here. But it doesn't matter at all. The game is
Exactly.
completely winning.
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely, I definitely still would have played the customer, but I can
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
the
like
mindset that he
everything
had.
wins. Like I can't dispute the fact that this is a winning line, because um, it is a little bit of a shame that the customer might not be able to clear Gaia because of the reduced hand size.
Right. That is like the main downside, of course. Um, but the other thing to keep in mind is now, uh, I mean, I was gonna say I
I
don't know if
mean,
he.
okay, Pokemon does actually still have a clear though with brand customer if he wants to go for it.
Right,
Uh,
but I was also
and it
thinking,
feels bad, but your opponent's out of cards in hand.
but he can also put
Um,
4 curses
oh,
into his hand, so I don't even
I
think it
haven't done.
matters.
I haven't been tracking. Uh,
Five,
this is not lethal.
20. No, it is.
Oh, can I? I cannot count. Oh, it goes up to 7. Sorry, I thought it was going up to 6.
No,
Okay.
totally fair.
Okay.
To be honest, I did the math not thinking it was going to be enough, and then after I did the math, I realized it was.
Yeah, no,
So.
I just missed. I thought that the curses were one lower than they were. Yeah, okay. So
Oh, okay, fair. Yeah, so
good smash for Pokemon.
4 curses going up to 7 damage. That'll do it. So Pokemon's
Yeah.
going to go up 2-1. So that is going to
Um,
leave him with the Paladin, and Anvil is going to be left with the Mage and the Shaman.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I take back what I said about the Tamsin line from last turn. Setting up lethal, good.
I mean,
If we can set
exactly.
up 2 turn while clearing the board, cannot fault the play at all.
I mean, one of the nice things about Hearthstone, I think we can all agree, is that sometimes there can be multiple lines of play, both of which can be valid, and that's part of what makes it an interesting, like, dynamic game to really think about and evaluate match by match. Because sometimes you might think you see the ideal play, and there might have been a better play. Sometimes there might have been an alternative that was equally good. It varies. And we
Okay.
see here
So
Pokemon has the control Holy Paladin.
yep, and Anvil's running it back with the Mech Mage for a 3rd time.
Yep.
Surely this will be the time that Mech Mage gets there.
I mean, this is definitely a good chance for him to, if he, especially looking at this hand, he's got the early momentum. He could definitely make a big, and as I say that, he also gets the shark too. So this could be really good for him.
Hiding a shark behind a taunt is pretty good against Holy Paladin.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say it.
I was gonna say it must be extremely tempting, but I think he's gonna go for the amalgam first. I imagine.
This seems questionable. I would bullying the Paladin off the board is generally really strong, and just being able to stick a Mecha Shark
Yeah.
is something I would have prioritized.
I think the problem is that, and I know with some players some players like yourself, you're more well versed on what the deck could have, so you might feel more comfortable sticking the shark behind a taunt. But I'm thinking Anvil's probably thinking he doesn't want to just play the shark without having a big like combo with it. That's always one
Yeah,
of the parts.
it might be caster vision. I just see. I want to just develop tempo, and we can generate a mech whenever.
Right.
But tempo can be hard to get back later. But I'll admit that I'm not an experienced mech mage enjoyer. So if he knows the matchup, he knows what he's doing. I'm not
Well, that's
gonna.
the thing. If he is going to play the shark here, then I absolutely agree with you. He made the wrong play before. But if he isn't going to play it, then I can see it working. I get that he might think he has 2 sharks. Maybe playing one of them is not a big deal. But I definitely
Well,
would be
he
wary
he
about
hit
it.
the second shark off of the generation. So
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
so like uh, and I don't mind the line given that he hit the second shark. But yeah, playing like Holy Paladin doesn't have that many ways to respond to stuff from hand, anyways, and so just
Right.
it basically forces them to have pyro quality, or they'll have to just take a bunch of damage that they have to heal up later.
That
Um,
is true.
but with that said, pretty good find off of the Deep Run Engineer. We've got a mothership on 5, mothership on 6, and if he can set those up, it's can just like set up some. I mean, either just sticky high attack minions or
Yeah,
some death rattles for the shark to fight back on board.
exactly.
Usually not much to fight back on board with against Paladin early game, anyways. But um, yeah. With all that said, the biggest thing that's happened in this game so far is Pokemon drawing Lightforged Cariel for turn 8. Um,
Right.
Anfall's definitely going to get some momentum going here. I'm very very surprised that we're not seeing a mothership come down here.
Agreed.
I really wanted to get that minion in play.
I was honestly thinking he was either going to go Mothership or maybe go for the Mecha Shark into the Annoyatron. This was not the line I was expecting at all.
Yeah, playing your second shark is kind of spooky. So I'm down to hold it. Or not spooky. It's like just kind of like concerning. But yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, this is still okay because he hit the security automatron. You probably want to stick that in play so that they can go face next turn.
Absolutely. Especially because it's not going to be a threat on this turn. I guess he wants to
Okay.
combo with the Shark, but...
Well, my thought is that he thinks he has enough board right now, that he's pushing 6 damage, and that is like sufficient pressure, and his opponent has to remove this. The issue is that I'm not sure Pokemon agrees with that. Okay, Pokemon is responding to it. I'm playing a 6-mana Light Ray. It's not that bad. It lines up well into the board, but this is going to give great, phenomenal mothership value.
Do you think this is the turn he plays the Shark because he can combo off the Mothership, or do you think he still holds that?
The mana is so clean to play Shark, Automatron, Mothership Rush. It wastes a couple of Shark shots, but it's honestly you might even maximize the Shark shots. No, you'd still play the Automatron before you bust open the Shark, so you play the Automatron first. Unless you're just holding that, but...
Well, I was going to say, I think you could definitely justify playing the Automaton second.
Yeah, okay, you actually just don't have to pop the Mothership open. Okay, he's holding the Automaton as well. Oh, that is so sad if you are an Anfall fan.
Yeah, that's awkward. I mean, it's good he's getting Pokemon down to 10, but now he's really on a clock.
Yeah, the sheep is really really bad for his chances. Interesting choice to develop the. I mean, I guess it. I guess you probably do want to have the Bannerman in play. Part of me was thinking about just holding playing the Bannerman first to not lose to Gaia, or it wouldn't lose to Gaia anyways. And he's got. Well, it didn't really have a response to it, but Gaia would be a problem regardless. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna take that back. But yeah.
Interesting. I honestly probably would have been more inclined to trade and just play the Automaton, because if he's got Cariel, he can't really do anything about the Automatons. This is not terrible, but at the same time, he's now clearing almost all of Anvil's board, so a little awkward. Exactly.
Okay, so
I think it is good that he's going wide at least.
Yeah, Paladin, there's already been one Pyro played. There are not very many AoEs. There's been one Pyro and one hero card played, so.
Right, but he's got quality Samuro if he wants to clear the board, so.
Sure does. And hits the Samuro. That is allowing him to save an equality. Like, it had 2 hits, either the hero power or the hero power or the righteous defense, but yeah, it hits on one of them, and there's not actually any healing in hand, so there's still like a little bit of life left in the game via burn, but
okay, he's going for Gaia, right?
Yeah,
the only thing he could really do here.
Yeah, it's got to be Gaia.
Wait,
Uh,
what?
yeah, keeping the Death Rattle alive just makes the board harder to clear. So, oh, yeah,
Okay.
it's a good spot.
Oh, Vitality Surge. Only 3, but this is going to give him a taunt now if he wants to play the Sunfish.
Flash of Light or Mech Roll. These are all premium options.
Mhm. I'm kind of surprised he didn't end up going for the Garden Grace, given that he's at the point where those are basically free now.
Yeah, playing one would have discounted the other two. Just thinking about the Mech Rolls, but
Mhm.
Puckman's at 28 does not really need to fear death at this point.
Nope. He can do. I was gonna say he can do. He can get through some of this board, but it's still not a good spot for him.
Gaia is very efficient into the carrier weapon, though. And surely
Actually,
it's just
wow.
leave
This.
some
Oh
raw.
no, never mind. This actually works. Oh, okay.
So it works. The issue is that it's dead on the backswing. We've
Exactly.
got a Smite double Grace. And
That.
yeah, that's going to be Pokemon taking it 3-1.
Yep.
Mech
Exactly.
Mage did
Just
not get
had
there.
just enough mana, but then again, he only needed one of those, so he didn't. He really had more than enough. The Paladin gets in there. Mech Mage, unfortunately, struggling for Anvil this set. So we are, in fact, going to a 5th match to decide the series.
Love a game 5.
Doesn't.
Is it
Like
game five?
I love Anvil, but
Or,
I love a 5
or
match.
sorry, it's there is no game 5. There is a
It's
set
a game.
5.
That's right.
Match 5.
Love a game
I
5.
assumed when he said game 5, he meant match 5.
No, I love a game 5, but we don't get one. Instead, we get a set 5.
Yeah, exactly. That's more important.
We're potentially getting 5 more games instead of a game 5.
There we go.
We've gotten 10.
The
Yeah.
Pokemon wins this set versus Anfall.
Very clutch, especially because now, even though, like I said, the margin doesn't matter, it is now 10-10.
Seeing if I can get Pokemon in for an interview.
Please
And
do.
immediate yes. So stand by. On chiming in. Congrats, Pokemon, on the win.
Thank you.
You got it.
Nice win, Justin.
Thank you.
Well done. I'm sure you must be excited to be bringing your team's match into your team set into the 5th match. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty good. I believe in Skirt. I definitely think he makes this to final. He gets this to finals. I think he makes it there.
What was your overall like strategy going into this match with Anvil? Because it looked like you had you both kind of went in with somewhat different lineups. You both had the Paladin Rogue. You ended up going with the Hunter and Warlock, and you ended up banning Anvil's Paladin. What would you say was your overall thought process going into this?
So Justin Time looked at the stats, and it was definitely a ban Paladin. We thought about banning the Mage, but that involved me bringing decks that I was less comfortable on, so we didn't want to go with that. And yeah, that was the main way that we prepped there.
Fair enough.
Did you Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Did you feel like we saw that Mech Mage ended up just unfortunately very much whiffing for Anvil? Were you kind of expecting that he was going to bring Mech Mage and that you might like soft target it, or was that really not something that went into your strategy at all?
No, that was not even a thought of them bringing Mech Mage. We expected the big Spell Mage that's been going around in the meta a lot right now. a lot of that came down to like, well, I scammed in the first game, and then after that, the mech mage just didn't do enough. I think it just burnt out before it was able to kill me.
That was our experience watching it as well.
Yeah.
Just its game plan of play minions was not powerful enough to to keep up with what your decks were doing.
Yeah.
Nice spot at the end of the Warlock game with the setting up the 2-turn. Not really a question, but just knowing your lethal numbers and your lethal math was impressive to see. I was surprised that you didn't play the customer until I saw what you were going for the next turn, and then I clicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say we kind of expected the AOE from the customer there, but we thought kind of the advancing of the curses wasn't necessarily going to be so effective, but you absolutely proved us wrong in showing like that was your key to victory right then and there.
Yeah. So I had done the calculation right during that turn using a calculator to figure out what the break point was. Had he played one spell, I do believe, or no, I think he was dead no matter what there, right? It was either that or he had to play both
It
spells.
was 4, 5, 6, 7, so that's 22 damage, and
Yeah.
so
He was at 24, I believe.
27. He was
Okay.
at 27.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, if it was exact, then yeah, good job on the maths.
Yeah. It was very, very effective. You mean I mean we saw you got off to a bit of a rough start in game one with Anvil having just the pretty ideal curve and setup with the smite with Mr. Smite for lethal there, but you just came back swinging in the next 3 games. Like, were you feeling a little thrown off by that first game, or were you still pretty confident that you had like a good shot of bringing it back after that?
I was a little nervous I was a little nervous going into the series because we are in semifinals. But I think the main thing was that after that first game, knowing that they played towards the smite out, and that smite was their main way of going through that game, I kind of accepted it once I saw that they didn't pull the vessel off of their first dredge. So that was a big thing there.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of tips the game plan, but there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah, there wasn't much I could do about it there.
You try to clear what you can, and if I recall right, you were not able to clear any of it, and so it's just shrug and move on. Yeah. Good job on keeping your mindset together as the series after that, because having been there can definitely be really disheartening to just get dealt nothing that you can do in the first game of the series.
Yeah, I was really hoping to draw for my top end during that game once I saw that he had the 14-14, but I didn't end up drawing towards any of that. In the second game, I think it definitely helped my mental because of the massive high roll off of the 9-drop really early on. So.
Yes, the second game was also a good time. Completely forgot about that one. It was over so fast. Yeah, no, that's just the dream curve for Crackpot Rogue, and you love to see it.
12 points of damage to face on what, turn 3? Is that
what
it was?
Yeah, turn 3.
Yeah. Clear the board. Push 12.
No big deal.
Discount your null while you're at it.
Nope, not a big deal at all.
3 null. They never got on board, but there was just a water elemental sitting in the 3/5. Yeah. That was a
honestly. We were kind of talking about that. Anfall had a really solid curve, like the clocker into deep run into seafloor guardian, whatever it is, the 3 mana 6/6. Like it was a really solid mech mage curve. Just you
Yeah,
cheated way harder, and mech mage doesn't deal with cheating.
yeah. They want to be the cheaters. They cannot be the ones cheated, so they struggle with that for sure.
Absolutely, just definitely exciting match all throughout. Where now we just got to anxiously await to see who comes out on top between this last match of Skirt and Totinos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're just waiting in the wings. So congratulations again, Pokemon. We'll let you go for the evening. So now
All
you get
right.
to
Thank you.
watch now that all the pressure's off, right? So
Yeah.
You did your job.
that's right.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Now take care.
Bye.
Take care.
So just queuing up some of the cameras there, player cameras there for our next match. I'm gonna get that up on screen right now. Take her away, guys. They haven't done bands yet, but that'll come in 2 seconds.
I was gonna say, so now we've got ourselves. We're just one match away from finding out who is going to be entering the Legacy Finals. It's been a long, long season, and we've had some really intense climaxes in these seasons with with having 24 teams and then going all the way down to 2. It's pretty crazy, but here we are.
Only one team can win it all, and one of these teams wants it to be them. Do you want to get into the classes for each
Yeah.
team, or
No,
yeah?
go right ahead.
So pretty similar lineups brought compared to their teammates. Each one, three of the 4 classes that their teammate brought rather, and they have similar classes as each other as well. Both players have Mage, Paladin, and Rogue. Totinos, who's on FTL White, has Demon Hunter, and Skirt Reynolds has Regular Hunter. But yeah, Mage, Paladin, and Rogue on both, and then DH versus H.
Yep, we're seeing in the last match there were 2 classes in common. This time there's 3, and it's 2 of them are the same classes that Pokemon and Anvil had in common, Paladin and Rogue. I'm curious if Skirt is going to go with Big Spell Mage purely based off of what we just saw in Pokemon's interview, where there seemed to be, they didn't seem to really expect Mech Mage from Anvil, so maybe that's what we're gonna see. Big Spell Mage from Skirt, and then Mech Mage from Totinos. I mean, certainly a few different possibilities here.
Yeah, like in general, you want to stick to your prep, and so if Totinos was planning on playing Mech Mage before this, you don't play it like one best of 5. It can feel bad to have a deck get swept, but you're generally meant to trust your practice if you're feeling Mech Mage. But I can also offer my opinion that I don't think Mech Mage is particularly strong. So I'm wondering if there's going to be some last minute pivoting going on there.
Certainly makes you wonder, that's for sure.
Um,
I personally am of the opinion that Big Spell Mage is better. I think Mech Mage, I think it was good for me earlier in this season, but I think in the current state of the meta, it's definitely not at its strongest. So, yeah, I can't say I'm all that surprised it wound up kind of whiffing for Anvil, as we discussed.
Yeah, one of the main things that it does well is it beats up Control Warrior. And Control Warrior was a meta tyrant earlier, and it is no longer relevant in the meta at all. And so Mech Mage, I think that just some of the newer decks that came out with the buff patch in the mini set development. Excuse me. Just don't line up well for it, and so
Yeah, I mean the main advantage that we saw, the main advantage that we saw with Mech Mage against Warrior was simply that Warrior didn't often build up a big board. So even though they could build up a lot of armor, it was impressive just how much damage Mech Mage could pull off in one turn. And, even with all that armor, they could just OTK them, and it was pretty effective. But with all these other decks that are like building boards and having a lot of removal on hand, doesn't really benefit the strategy and the game plan of Mech Mage as much. So,
for sure, and like Mech Mage's other main asset is the longevity. They can generate a lot of cards, and they're like not run out of value, and that's just not as relevant in matchups where you need to have more tempo. So,
all right. So we got the bans in. So we got Skirt Reynolds Hunter is banned. That leaves Mage, Paladin, and Rogue. And then we have Totino's Pizza with their Mage band. So they have.
we're not going to find out if F12 White has another.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
We get Demon Hunter, Paladin, and
exactly.
Rogue.
Yeah, DH Pally Rogue versus Mage Pally Rogue.
Just going to get the players to start now. So for our viewers out there, we're going to have Totino's Pizza at the bottom of the screen, or first to spectate for our casters with Skirt Reynolds at the top of the screen.
Yeah, so with a Mage on one side and a DH on the other, not too much difference there. DH is relatively unpolarized. All of its matchups are pretty close. Does not like fighting against Holy Paladin, but not even so sure that we'll see a Holy Paladin based on the fact that there's a Paladin on the other side. And Mech Mage is fine into rogue decks of all flavors, and so could see. Really, just would not be surprised to see Mech Paladin out of either player.
Yeah.
As for the rogue decks, Boat Rogue's generally pretty good. Crackpot Rogue is good. Can't really go wrong. Not sure that you'd want to bring Mine Rogue into. It's rough into big spell mage. Getting your spells cost swapped is not fun to deal with, and Deep Water Evoker is not fun to deal with either. But aside from those, it's generally pretty okay. It looks like the game has started. Totino's on the bottom.
Yeah, just he doesn't have. Oh, now it's on. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Totino's is leading off with the Holy Control Paladin, and we see Skirt actually brought Mech Mage. So, I was mistaken.
We did say that this was potentially like a decent matchup for the Mage, I think.
Yes.
But it's
it's a decent matchup, but it's tricky because you have to be very careful about how everything is played.
For sure.
I mean, the biggest thing Mech Mage has going for it is its ability to throw down a lot of damage, a lot of a board. But the problem is, obviously, Paladin has its share of outright removal or, combined with AoE. So it's very, it can be a little dicey if you're not careful about how you play, how you play certain cards and how big you want to go with the board. We see, though, Skirt actually decides to go with the Automaton. I thought he was actually going to go with the 3-drop. I always forget the name. The Sunken minion, because...
It was turn 2. It's like kind of tough to keep track when we're jumping into the game late, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's... probably will see a C4 gateway on this turn.
Probably.
Holding it doesn't really accomplish much.
No.
It's your best card, and so jamming it on curve is generally the fault. But like you're supposed to think about reasons to not make the obvious play before you do indeed jam the obvious play. Skirt sees a 1-3 looking at a 4-3 and decides that is not the Hearthstone he wants to be playing, and so he'll get the 4-3 out of there. Bit of a risky play to spend your only removal on a minion that's not necessarily must remove. Or sorry, Totino's spent it rather. I had the players confused, but yeah, the hand overall just kind of lacking in just stuff to do from Totino's side.
Yeah.
Skirt's hand is also a little bit light, to be fair, but just Totino's Pizza's overall lack of way to remove anything really with this hand is potentially going to be problematic, depending on top decks and what Bannerman pulls, though. And yeah, Skirt's just going all in and saying, if there's a pyro quality, then I lose to it, and otherwise I'm just tempoing and I'm gonna get there. And luckily for Skirt, there is not a pyro quality, so this is just a lot of board, and honestly, this is why the Mech Mage is pretty okay in the matchup. It just plays stuff, and the Paladin does not consistently have the clear.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, and Fall's
game
against Paladin was
the Righteous Defense was helpful, but it's obviously
it was one card, and
yeah, exactly.
Skirt drew the C4 gateway, and
which is great here. I almost wonder if you take a second Mothership just so you have more
resiliency against the clear. Absolutely, I would love a Mothership here.
That's what I'm thinking. I can understand if he's sort of thinking about the Automaton as something he can play now, but I think given the state of his hand, there's really not.
It's not going to get that big. It just doesn't have.
Okay, he's going to go for it.
Surely you have to trade. Wow. Okay, I'm shocked there wasn't a trade there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like when it's a 1-1, like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it just like plays around a quality with like a quality plus and nothing else.
And like you don't really need that extra damage, right?
That's my thought, but does not get punished for it though.
Nope.
So fair enough. Totino's feels the pressure and opts to spend the Mackie roll. Totino's just playing full defense with that line. Not that I can blame them. Like it's
See, I feel like wouldn't you play the Mothership over the Fireball here, or is the Fireball?
Yeah, you definitely want to develop your minions.
Okay.
You play your minions when they are in play.
That's what I figured.
And, I'm not sure that you rush the Mothership off. I think you might just develop a 5/4, but definitely want to get it in play.
Do you think that maybe there's an argument to just leaving the carrier alone and just going face with everything?
Oh, for sure. Nothing. You didn't see you didn't see an equality pyro played last turn, so there probably isn't going to be one this turn. Is an extremely valid thought.
Wow. Okay, he's I don't disagree with this play since he knows that he's still got another 2 more turns before 2 more turns before Carriel can be played if he has it.
I do disagree with this play, but I understand it.
Exactly. Like, I don't agree with it, but I do get it.
But yeah, Totino's top decking heal into heal, and that'll allow these light rays to be played for free. Like Skirt just sees an opponent that can be put to 3 health, and it's understandable to do it. And in his defense, the Gaia, okay, 7-mana Gaia just lines up well into anything in this matchup, but it's the only play, and
There's no question about it.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it AoEs everything for 6. Like,
Yes.
it's very, very good.
Especially when you have a board like this that's going to further contribute to the AoE from the Gaia. Like, this is about as good as it gets as far as
This is
maximizing your
the
damage
stuff
for Gaia.
MacMage's dreams are made of.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with a trade into
I
here,
also-
and then
I
seeing
think
what
he,
it
he
looks like.
definitely clears the board here, right? He doesn't have to worry
Yeah,
about that, right? Because at the very least, everything is taking 6 damage just from the
yeah, you
attack
put a
alone.
3/2 in, a 2/3 in, and that deals 4 to the board, and then you just go face with
Right.
the other minions, or I guess you have to trade. You have to trade a 1/1, whichever you are
Well, I was going
feeling
to say,
like.
if he trades both the 1/1s into the 5/3, that's probably the most efficient. And
Yes,
goes the
that is.
3/2 into the carrier. Yep, that's exactly how you want to do it.
No, because you get AoE from each attack into.
Well, right, that's what I'm saying. So if you throw the right, so now he can just throw the right because if he had one more minion, he
No,
wouldn't
he
have.
dealt he dealt an extra damage to it. I think
Yeah,
not 100% on that though. Uh,
With every step, the light guides you.
the 2-mana save the game spell was not found.
no, that's gonna be
So
game 1 for Skirt.
yeah,
Nothing that can be done.
clearly what this means is all handfall needed was a game 4
Yep.
on MacMage. Yeah, okay. After seeing MacMage get obliterated, it gets there in one drive for Skirt. So.
Yep. Kind of ironic that Skirt ended up banning Mage, from a team that could not win with it last time around.
Yeah, no, I was very amused by that. But yeah, 7-mana Gaia is good in. Not even the 7-mana Gaia. It was just the board sticking.
Exactly. It was a combo. It was the 7-mana Gaia combined with having 4 other minions that basically meant, hey, we're going to deal 6 to everything just from the fact that they're attacking, and he made the most of that damage that put Totino's in a really rough spot going into that following turn. One
Yeah,
turn.
and like Totino's play heading into the Gaia turn was not weak. It was like just developing the light rays and healing back up after he'd been hit in the face. But yeah, and I guess never finding a pyro or a Samuro or a city tax or something to go with
Exactly.
to set up a clear and set the mech mage back to 0. And
Exactly.
yeah,
Well,
those
that's also
are the types of games where mech mage looks quite solid, where it just doesn't get pushed off the board and is given time to set up. So yeah,
agreed. But
go
at the
with
same
one of the
time,
lead.
it does feel like, if that guy just felt like the absolute savior because with that kind of board, guy was basically his only way of dealing with it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so now Totino's is going on to the Rogue, and Skirt is moving on to the Paladin. I'm guessing based upon the Jewel kit, he is playing more of a Mech Paladin deck.
Yeah.
Well, that is going to be a
And
different change.
based on the Edwin and the Shadow stuff, yeah, Edwin's playable in Mind Rogue, so I guess you have to differentiate that. Yeah, Edwin and Shadow Step and Extortion looks to be actually could be either flavor of Maestro Rogue, could be Jackpot or
Yeah,
both.
exactly. I was going to say, it could be either. Definitely not Mind Rogue, just based on the Shadow Step and the Edwin, but yeah. Interesting hand to start.
Philip Fighter pushes this further in the direction of Boat Rogue. So probably
Yeah,
seeing
I
that.
agree.
Trading on turn 1 to discount your nulls further. Always, or I guess not always, but
No,
nearly always.
I would definitely do that.
A little bit of consideration to just hold it, but you don't really want to. You're not like dying to break bubbles on turn 1 after the jewel kit gets slammed down. You kind of just want to like. It's often better to just let the mech paladin sit there for a while and do their own thing. So opting to trade to discount the nulls and get a board swing later. I agree with what's going on here.
I love this play.
Ooh, this is so
That
powerful.
works out beautifully.
Um,
The Savior is absolutely one of the best things you want to buff, and he's able to play the Clocker on a turn where he knows it's going to buff the Savior, so that's pretty great.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to get buffed even further by the Prismatic Jewel Kit. So if he can just keep drawing mechs and keep building up his board, he's going to be in a really great spot.
With the caveat that Totino's has hit the dream card off of Recon. Najak Haxon, I don't remember who said it, but someone in a Twitch chat once mentioned the phrase, see a Najak, pick a Najak, and it is so applicable here.
It's a busted card, that's for sure.
It was not meant to be played in Rogue.
Nope.
I mean, I feel like about a third of the Death Rattle pool wasn't meant to be played alongside Shadow stuff. Looking at you, Gigafin, but Najak very much at the center of that discussion. It does dirty things in this deck, and against a deck that is trying to develop board and does not care about anything else, Najak Hexen is.
I was unable to see what he dredged. Oh, it's an amalgam. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Skirt's hand is pretty low on value and pretty low on tempo after this swing. This is this is what we call a 1-to-1 series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I were the captain of a team in semifinals and it was Game 5, I would not be upset with my player for conceding this.
To
be fair, you are meant to play it out. It's rough to come back from these.
This is also I would argue, one of the best matchups to be bringing out something like Hexen, purely because Mech Paladin is obviously not playing any kind of AoE or any kind of outright removal, so especially when you're throwing this in front of a taunt.
There's presumably a Samuro, but that's the only AoE available to deck.
Right, but that's obviously just one card that needs to be buffed to really do something. And
you're not meant to play around it in positions like these.
Exactly. Like on one hand, he's not taking
like the jewel kit is there, so like, but it only had one tick, so it would only be AoEing for 2, so it still wouldn't. Give back the Najak. Stealing the Righteous Protector before the bubble got popped to hand buff was really clutch. Or really convenient how it worked out, I guess.
Yeah.
None of these picks are any good. Just straight up, you're ahead on board. You don't need AoEs. There's 3 AoEs.
Could end up being useful, but very niche, very situational.
Yeah, I agree with the pick. Wicked Stab, hard to disagree when your opponent is dying. Potentially would have wanted to look at the Akani, but honestly, this is probably better.
And that's just it. Going into game 3. It's going to be 1-to-1. I mean,
dead on board.
Did what he could, but Totino's just had it all. And the second's Wicked Stab to pour salt in the wound.
Yeah, that was a solid rogue, like a solid enough rogue draw, and hitting Najak in a tempo-based matchup where they don't have a way to get around their own Divine Shield taunt.
Do you
It's
think if he
brutal.
hadn't drawn the Najek, if he didn't have that would have been a very different game? Because it feels like
Yeah,
Skirt really struggled to build up momentum there, even with that in mind.
yeah. Like it didn't just steal a 2/2 taunt Divine Shield against a deck that doesn't develop that many minions early and struggles to deal with taunt Divine Shield. It also like stole a jewel kit buff. Like um, there I could go on about talking why the Najak Hex and Discovery was big, but if you've played against that rogue deck enough and you've had it done to you just know that it's a backbreaking play when it hits, and that was absolutely a hit. Usually, like you might try to prioritize stealing a bigger minion or something, but tempo is good, and if you've seen if you've seen enough Hearthstone, you know that to be true.
And
Yeah,
I have.
yeah. Really surprised with the Fell Barrage keep, but the Sigil and the Fossil Fanatic are the cards that you're looking for. 7-mana Jace Darkweaver is very interesting.
Yeah.
I suppose we probably kept the Fell Barrage to kill something like a Righteous Protector or an Anoyotron or even a Click-Clocker.
Right.
Generally don't want to keep Fell Spells in this deck, but it worked out moderately well here.
Yeah. I mean, something like this actually works out pretty decently for Totino since he can now
Yeah,
play Fnatic and just clear off the 3-1, but I guess we'll have to see how much
really,
against him.
really unfortunate to see the coin being spent there from Skirt because his hand is so expensive. It was a chance to develop the Vindicator when it wasn't too tempo negative, so it's understandable, but it's just really sorry. Yeah.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, he doesn't. Having the coin get burned is really unfortunate, at least from our perspective, because we can
Right.
see what's going on. And the multi-strike top deck is also
Ooh.
really rough for Skirt.
Ooh,
Not going to see that though. Bit of a misorder here. If he hits the second predation off of the Fnatic draw, that'll be unfortunate, but dodges that low roll. I'm very surprised to not see the multi-strike played. Usually you just want to cash out all of your draws with that card, and
exactly.
if there were a buffed Samuro in hand, it would clear both of these minions, and there's not really much else to develop for Totino, so dodges a bullet there.
But it's funny because even though that definitely wasn't the most ideal play, he's not really going to get punished for it because Skirt doesn't really have a follow-up. Like
Samuro is still a one of, so like a relative, as low of a chance for a punish as you can get, I guess. But have to assume that we're interested in the Seafloor Savior. Bubblebot is like one of your more important cards, but there's it does. You need to have a board first. Instead, chooses to take the Regis Protector. I guess he's just looking to survive, which is reasonable. Puffer Fist, surprising pickup.
Yeah, I haven't really seen that in Demon Hunter recently, but he is Ooh, interesting.
uncut from lists, but winds up well enough here, I suppose. Pushes a couple damage, and the multi-strike getting to draw 2 cards eventually. So, yeah, just a really rough time for Skirt. It's yeah, these mech decks, they are quite strong when ahead, and they really struggle to come back, fight for board, and come back. And we've seen that a lot this series. The mech mage got through the Holy Paladin, but otherwise it's just been a bunch of mech decks getting rolled.
Yeah, this is unfortunately one of the bigger downsides of both the mech decks. They do have some ways of countering the opponent's board and reacting, but in the case of as we're seeing here, the motherships aren't going to be able to do that until turn 6, and Totinos has a lot more he can do before that is possible.
Yeah, and I mean, there's also the bit where they don't run very many responses, and so even if you're responding to one board, they can just redevelop. But yeah, we're just seeing the weakness of mech decks overall in this
Exactly.
set. And the hits keep on coming for Totino's. The best turn 6 in Demon Hunter, he drew the good card. Have to assume we're going to see Kurtrus Demon Hunter come down here. Lady Steno can take away a Divine Shield, or even 2. But no, we're going to see Fel Barrage and I guess probably Fury Chaos Strike. I'm very confused by this. This felt worse than just punching your opponent in the face.
Yeah.
I think the DH is winning regardless, but
Yeah, but just not the cleanest play, unfortunately, though.
yeah. But yeah, Mech Paladin does not come back from these, so
Nope.
2-1 lead for Totinos.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing that can be done. Giving this taunt is kind of helpful, but
It's
really,
a little cute. It's sizable, but yeah,
but
Totinos just has his choice of
right.
winning plays, and everything wins. And yeah, just pick your favorite.
Exactly.
Live in the hero power for good measure, and yeah,
It's like
2-1.
All right, go face. All right, Totino's taking the 2-1. We are going into a possible set series ending game 4. Yeah, not the cleanest play, but as we saw, the sheer disadvantage coming from Mech Paladin ended up being a real benefit for Totinos in that game.
Yeah, the same storyline from Series 1 repeated for opposite teams here. The mech deck looks at their opponent playing cards and wishes that they could do something about it.
Exactly. And to add to that, now we see Skirt is going for the Mech Paladin, so we could end up seeing that go full circle here. But Totinos is going for the Control Paladin, which may end up struggling depending on some of the draws here. The equality is nice; it's definitely going to be good, but he's going to want some kind of AOE to follow that up. So the mulligan here is huge.
Yeah, the Mech Paladin's storyline has been it watches its opponent play cards and gets sad. The counter to that is find an opponent who doesn't play cards, and that's what Control Paladin's early game does. So it has been tossed a lifeline in the form of your opponent also brought Paladin.
Yes, but I'm feeling bad for Skirt right now because he drew both prismatic jewel kits early game.
And off the coin as well. So just really does not have very many to buff. With that said, still probably going to jam one. And the security automaton will be slightly larger. He's been blessed by an opponent that, as mentioned, it does not really do anything. He's going to try. Skirt's going to try his best to get there with some tempo. Gonna see the Battle by Car developed. Was a little bit interested in coining a Bannerman, but it didn't buff enough minions. So
Yeah,
I agree with the play that Totino's.
Yeah, that was fine.
Skirt just playing Paladin, developing cards. I'm not trying to roast the Paladin class too hard. I'm just if there are any chickens in the chat, I'm not sorry. I'll put it that way.
Nails, come on. Careful there. We don't want anybody coming out of this too roasted. Come on. Now, Totino's definitely is in a decent spot to clear any board. The motherships from Skirt are going to be at least good in helping to keep a fairly sticky board, but that removal is going to still be pretty critical here.
Yeah. Totino's instead choosing to say that this board doesn't scare me. I don't need to respect it, and based on the cards drawn, have to agree. The radar detector really not hitting.
I mean, it's not terrible.
The minion quality actually very high from that radar detector. The minion quantity leaves something to be desired, though.
Exactly.
Really wanted more than 2 cards there, but almost makes you wonder how many. We've seen both jewel kits. Really makes you wonder how many hits are even left in deck at this point to hit 3 non-mech cards. Like when I see my opponent whiff, I think, oh, they hit the jewel kit. They hit their hero card. There's Blademaster Samuro and probably Okani. Maybe Curiel Rome. And then we're starting to run out of non-mechs in the deck. So, like, honestly, just an incredibly low roll from Skirt. And when you're on double jewel kit, you desperately need to hit the any sort of resource you can find. So
yeah, and I think we're going to see here the Righteous Justice onto the Automaton, so he can clear this board without having to use the equality.
Yeah, or the city tax or the coin. Yeah, we could also. We don't have anything we can coin out, so it's. Instead, he'll choose to look at a 4/2.
Yeah.
There's the Samuro that we were talking about.
Which he does have the second jewel kit, so that in theory could be pretty good. But at the same time, this is not the matchup where Samuro's AoE is going to be that useful. Maybe if he gets down a couple of the 5/5 taunt, but we see he doesn't have any of that in hand yet. So we'll have to wait and see if a scenario comes about for that to really come in handy.
So Totino is struggling to deal with the moderate pressure being applied by Skirt's Paladin. And so has spent most of this game pretty healthy and has been controlling Skirt's board, and might struggle with that moving forward. Um, these Knights of Anointment are they're helpful, but they're not enough on their own. And
Yeah. I almost wanted to suggest like playing the Jewel Kit, but now I'm realizing no, this was definitely the right play to play the Protector instead.
yeah, I guess it looks like an equality city tax and see what pops out.
Yeah, I would.
And
I
hope that you roll. Oh, I'm very surprised that we're. Well, definitely forgot to trade away a minion into the Righteous Protector Line Shield, but it doesn't matter if you simply hit.
got the sheep though, so
Unnecessary city tax played there. Could have just played Vitality Surge to Volt Clear anyways, but yeah, the light right pickup off of the Vitality Surge, heal 9, get a 0 mana 5/5
that
taunt.
is
That's,
pretty good.
yeah, that's gonna be rough for Skirt to deal with. The hits do not seem to be stopping for Totino's Leviathan. The Skirt was pretty committed to that last forward, and so
Oh my
uh,
goodness.
just does not have any resources left. That's a hero card. Yeah, this is just going to be rough for Skirt to deal with.
Mhm.
Um,
Now he just has lethal next turn for sure.
yeah. 15/15s are not what Mech Paladin is meant to deal with. So,
Skirt really tried. It's unfortunate that we saw two matches of basically the same thing happen. Two mech decks, two different classes, but same problem unfortunately. Totinos is going to take this one. Congratulations to F2L White. They are going to claim the second final spot. And we have a finals now of the standard THL Degenerates versus versus F2L White.
on the outside, he's Skirt, and on the inside, he's Hurt.
That's funny, but also I
Print
really
that on
shouldn't.
a shirt.
Seriously,
Oh,
now we have to make that into a shirt purely out of like moral obligation. My goodness,
Hurt Reynolds.
I'm laughing and crying on the inside for the record.
And we're crying on
Oh,
the outside, tears of joy for After White.
yeah, exactly.
Congratulations to that team on making it to the finals, and good luck in the finals.
For real. I mean, F2L obviously is one of the most prolific teams that we've seen in all of THL, and it is, you know, it's pretty crazy that this isn't even the first time that they've made the finals in two separate series for THL in the same season.
And they might do better than Neji Boston as well, and actually win the finals.
Yep. I was gonna say because they ended up in pro this season. They ended up making it, I think, to the quarterfinals or semifinals.
Don't remember off the top of my head. I know they had a pretty decent season though. So
Yeah, I think it was quarterfinals.
um,
Got Totino's joining us here. How you doing, Totino's Pizza? Or do we just go eat TP for sure?
Totino's works, TP, either way. Doing good. That was a fun series. Great games.
I was gonna say, were you paying attention to the match beforehand? Because we saw a complete full circle of what happened, where we saw Anvil struggle to win on Mech Mage, losing 3 games in a row, and then we saw Skirt go through the same exact situation, but with Mech Paladin.
Yeah, I actually was paying attention, and I was noticing that definitely and that's kind of like what I tried to use. The same like reasoning. Like once you get mech decks off the board, it's so hard to come back from that. And so like I was just like I saw what happened to my teammate, and I was just like know what I have. Like I know what I have to do. I just have to get on board, just deny as little buffs as going to the hand as possible, so I can just make all the boards just super manageable and just try and clean up from there.
For
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely. It seemed like
Do you mind sharing whether or not you had Mech Mage? I wouldn't usually try to have a player reveal their deck that they don't have to reveal for information info management purposes. But given the storylines, we're dying to know. Did you have Mech Mage?
I was thinking about it. I probably wasn't gonna bring it just because like I've been playing a lot more Big Spell Mage than Mech Mage on ladder, so I was just like, even if I think Mech Mage is the better pick, I'm just more comfortable on Big Spell anyways. Because there definitely was the thought of like, okay, it could be like a more like slower lineup, and I could like punish that inefficiency. But I was just like, I'm just gonna play the decks that I'm most comfortable with, the decks that I know I've seen perform well, and just go from there.
Big Small Mage is a solid bring. You have my approval with that. Good job on not bringing a mech deck. That particular mech deck.
Exactly. Yeah, I can definitely understand the hesitation. Not just looking at what happened the match before yours, but just in general, looking at how that deck was performing in some of the matchups.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, like it's as you like you maybe saw with like in the mage, like once it gets on the board, if you can't get it off, it definitely does snowball that. But it's all about those like first few turns.
Yeah,
And
it steamrolls from ahead for sure. And just has to do that.
yeah, and if it goes to turn 5, you don't have like you lost initiative, and if you don't have any like from hand damage like fireballs and like the mech mage, it's really hard. And I like to I trust my opponent to play as well as they possibly can. So it's like I don't want to like high roll the early game. I want to be able to like make as many decisions to win at any point in the game, not just the early. So I think that's kind of like what guided my lineup choices.
Fair enough.
The one game that was definitely kind of leaving us a little confused was the Demon Hunter game. It seemed like there was like just a little bit of confusion as far as like managing your resources, utilizing your cards to the most at their most effective. But it also seemed like, as we were saying, like you ended up having the right cards. Skirt did not have any kind of proper response. You were able to really just get a lot of early game going. Before any of his cards could really do anything about your board. What were you kind of thinking, like, as you were trying to develop your board and maximize your plays in that game?
So when I got my opening hand, I realized I had like a pretty good solid like start out, like as long as like didn't have like a turn like a really easy like, and with me going first, like as long as like they didn't like coin a security guard or anything like that. But if I could just stick that fossil fanatic, I could take care of like I was going back to like board management, like take care of like most of what the board got through the fossil fanatic, because they don't. But outside of carriol, rushing carriol, they don't have too much in terms of like dealing with anything I play as long as I keep them on the back foot. And so from there, it was just like kind of like, all right, like, and then when I got the Jace discounted, I was just like trying to like get the spells out of my hand. And then with the Sino in play, I was just trying to like maximize like keeping like as much of the board control as possible. And then definitely towards the end right there, I was like mostly trying not to like throw, because I've definitely been in situations like that where I'm like, okay, I got that, and like I didn't actually play a multi-strike or something like that, swing with my hero, and then realize I don't have enough damage to go face. So I didn't want to repeat that mistake. So I was just like made some not fully optimal plays with the spells, but they couldn't deal with the Stheno, and I think it just kind of went from there.
Yeah, it sounded like you had the macro and the matchup down of bully them off the board at all costs and uh, remove their tempo while developing your own, pretty much. It's golden advice in Hearthstone in general, and rings so true against mech decks.
Sure.
So props for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how both these games ended up working out, but in both situations, You played well. You really got the win where you needed it. And I can understand if you were feeling a bit of pressure considering, you knew Anvil didn't seal it for you guys. All of that came on you, but you delivered. Great work for that.
Yeah.
Also had the
Now,
pressure of like never being on a stream before, so I was just like,
wait. Are you for real?
This is a first
yeah,
time, or yeah, I was
this
just
is
gonna
the
say.
I was going to
first
say, because
one.
you've been playing for a few years now. What the heck?
Yeah, mostly working in restaurant. Like most of the times y'all stream, like I am
He's working.
either at work or getting off at like 1 a.m., which is not the ideal time to do streams, and so I'm playing a lot like either early in the morning or late at night. So it's never been. But that light just up at my webcam, just constantly on. I was just like, that's not usually there.
All asleep, recovering. So,
Yeah,
Sleep's important. Can confirm.
it is.
any final thoughts before we let you go for the evening there to your
Well,
time?
I just want to ask quickly. So you guys are now going to be facing standard THL degenerates in the finals.
Yeah.
This is a team that's obviously, they've been around for quite some time. Dr. Bombi has shown these guys that he can put a real strong team together and put a good run in. What are your thoughts? How are you at least feeling? Knowing finals are coming up, you've got this. You know who you're going to face. You're just one match away from that title.
I mean, I think like I'm feeling pretty good about like at least like performing as best as I can. Like at the end of the day, that's all I can do. So I'm gonna keep getting reps in. Hopefully, the meta doesn't change. Like that's been the curse that we've been facing. Is like every single time we get comfortable picks on our lineups, the meta changes. And so like I'm feeling confident about like the decks that I've chosen to get good at. Feeling about confident in my strategy going into like what am I gonna ban? What am I gonna bring? So I think it's gonna be a good series. I think it's not gonna be easy by any stretch of the imagination. So just gonna try my best and see who is on top at the end of it.
Mm-hmm. All right. I like it. I like it. We're
So
definitely excited for you guys.
yeah,
And next week is surely going to be a good one.
Forward to it.
perfect. Thanks again for joining us, and enjoy your evening.
You will do the same.
Take care.
Bye bye.
All right. Wow. Didn't get to game 5, but
We couldn't get one game 5 in 2 matches. What's up with that?
But that's okay.
That is okay, though.
Pressure was there. Casting was on point. So I want to thank you both for handling business there. So upcoming shows that are for next week will be just Hearth Center, I believe, which is just going to have I believe the little bit of the Wild Series going on. I don't remember if anything else is going on this week besides the Legacy matches. So
I think that's it because I think all the other series are done.
yep, EU Pro is done, Hero is done. Yep, so that's and now Wild is done. So congrats on
I know.
Red Likely for clinching it. So way to go.
It's gonna be a good one.
All right. Any final thoughts before we let you guys go?
I was just gonna say thank you for having me.
That's about it.
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
Got it.
It's always a pleasure.
very good time.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. All the 31 viewers that were able to attend tonight. We will catch you.
New high score.
That's right. All right. So we'll catch you guys next week. Tune in on the THL Discord for upcoming events, plus when the finals of the Legacy is going to happen. So hopefully we'll get some of those on stream. And we'll see you a little bit later. Take care.
Peace.
Take care, everybody.